Hello, I'm Griff Hosker, a writer of historical fiction, and I hope you're all keeping safe in these troubling times. I'm passionate about writing historical novels, and I take great solace in writing. The book I'm going to read from is Lord Edward's Archer, and it's set at the end of the 13th century and involves a young archer called Gerald Warbow who serves Lord Edward. Famously, he becomes Edward I Longshanks, the King of England. He has to avenge his father, and as a result, he becomes an outlaw. The first part of the novel is where he escapes and meets up with another outlaw called Roger of Tallocher, and this story begins where they're trying to cross a mighty river. Roger did not sleep well. The wound was hurting. I woke before dawn and saddled a horse and pony. I roused Roger and we shared the last of the bread and the cheese. Neither would survive the dousing they were about to receive. Roger looked at me. I'll slow you down. Aye, you will, but I will not leave you here to be butchered like your friends. Now the pony is a practiced swimmer. Hang on to the saddle and kick with your feet. Do not worry if we're swept a little downstream, just so long as we get across. Come on, let us go. I led Harry by his reins and patted his flank. Come, this is the third time you've done this. We will show Roger of Tallocher how it is to be done. I turned. Follow me and be brave. I found it easier than the first two times I'd done this. I had no pony to distract me. I held onto the saddle and kicked. We were across in a few heartbeats. As Harry scrambled up the bank, I turned and watched Roger. The sun had not fully risen yet. The grey light was sufficient for me to see close by. The pony was not as strong and he was being taken downstream. I walked down the bank and, jumping into the shallows, pulled the man-at-arms from the pony and to the shore. Free from the weight, the pony scrambled lithely up to the bank. Quickly, mount your pony and let us ride. We need to be well hidden before the Lord of Lymm seeks us. As we headed away from the river, my original plan was in tatters. The War family had a castle at Mamoukiam. That lay at the junction of the Irk and the Irwell rivers. We would have to travel further north. I knew there's a high pass at Saddleworth. We would head there. I knew that the weather would soon be turning and becoming wintry. We had no furs with us. I was confident I could survive the high ground, but I was uncertain about Roger of Tallocher. When I tended his wound, I'd seen his ribs. He was not a well-fed man. We rode hard, skirting every village and settlement we saw. I would not risk buying bread any longer. I questioned Roger as we rode. The men who hunted you, what was their livery? White circlets and green stripes. Why? We looked for those. We might be able to bluff our way past others, but the ones in those tunics will be seeking us. We rode for 20 miles without stopping, the ground steadily rising. I knew that we'd have to stop to rest our animals. We skirted a village, and I was about to stop when I saw a castle rising to the south of us. I took us north up a sheep track. It dropped down into a sheltered dell. It would have to do. It was noon when we stopped. Roger fell asleep after we'd eaten a frugal meal of venison and drunk some water. I left him, and taking my bow, quiver, and 3 water skins, I headed to find some water. I descended the slope where the water would be lowered there. I used the terrain to guide me, and when I heard the bubbling water, I knew that I'd found it. The water had white bubbles, and I looked upstream. There was no dead animals, which meant it was good to drink. I filled all 3 skins. I worked out that there's a more direct route back to Roger. I strung my bow and took a hunting arrow in case I spied a rabbit. Fresh meat was always welcome. I heard horses. I knew the noises Harry and the pony made. These were different, and there were 3 of them. I switched the hunting arrow for a bodkin. I crept and used the ground to shelter me. I heard voices. Outlaw, where is your companion? Where is the man with the horse? The old lady told us he was an archer. I heard something, but it was incoherent. Then I heard a slap and a cry. I will happily take your crown jewels for you to make you speak. You are a dead man. but I can make your end quick. I risked looking over the top, and I saw 3 men with their backs to me. They wore the white and green tunics Roger had told me of. I dropped my head down and took out 2 more bodkin arrows. I jammed them in the earth, and then I stood and drew my bow. The men were just 30 paces from me. I could not miss. The question was, how many would I hit before they could get to me? I sent the first one into the back of the man who had just struck Roger. He seemed to me to be the leader. He fell face down on Roger. Seeing the arrow, the other 2 turned to face me. That gave me the chance to knock at other arrow and send it into the chest of the second man. Roger pushed the dead man from him and tried to rise. Even as I took my 3rd arrow, the last man grabbed Roger and held him before him. His sword was at Roger's throat. Only half of his face was visible. "Drop your bow or he dies." I nodded and started to lower my bow. I saw his hand relax a little, and I pulled the bow up and released in one motion. The arrow plunged into his eye and he fell dead. I raced across the ground with another arrow nocked, although I knew it would not be needed. All 3 men were dead. Even as I ran, I knew that although we had 3 horses and would be able to travel faster, the 3 dead men-at-arms would point Sir Robert in our direction. Roger looked up. His wound was bleeding. "I owe you my life again. Thank me later. See if they have coin, and if their swords are better than yours, I will gab the horses." I walked slowly towards the skittish horses. Blood always makes animals nervous and anxious, although I had a way with them, and I gathered the 3 of them. Harry was a better horse, but they were all much more useful than the pony. I was already working out that we would be able to cover more than 30 miles before nightfall. If one animal became lamed, we would still have spares. We had to outrun our pursuers. Roger had taken one of the swords. "This is a good one. They had coin." "Keep it. We need to move. Choose the best horse and mount it. I will tie the others and lead them." "I can lead one." "You are as weak as a newborn calf. You will do your share when you're fitter. Now mount." I was younger, but Roger of Talloch had been an outlaw for 6 months. He had lost his warrior skills. If we were to go to France, then he needed to regain them. I mounted one of the captured horses and tied Harry and the pony to it. I led the other horse. I would change after 15 miles or so. The land undulated and then the road dropped into a valley. We had done the hard part. We had negotiated the high pass of Saddleworth. Well, I hope you enjoyed that book. I will repeat this again sometime over the next few months. So everyone, stay safe and goodbye from me. Thank you.